and some wind as well, but some sunshine on the way for tomorrow and indeed Friday. We'll get up to eventually 14 degrees to end the week. Matt Lee joins us here, and we're going to talk about sort of at the tail end of what we talked about last week, and that some new numbers have been released. But Kingston sitting in an odd situation here, and I think a lot of buyers, perhaps first-time buyers, a little bit going to be intimidated. Explain why.
Yeah. We talked last week about what the numbers were for the month of September over last year. And I mean, we did see this 14% median and the 10% average. So the third quarter came out and it says, okay, Kingston's numbers is for the third quarter is 14.6% up over last year for that third quarter. So we're seeing that as it's a big number when you start dealing with real estate on the average. So you're going from the 388,000 to 420. I mean, that's a big jump. We've seen these tightening of rules with your mortgage broker in the CMHC, just making sure that everybody is well protected because we don't want to see a financial crisis happen in any sense. So we're seeing these numbers go up. The interesting thing is they did the numbers nationally. The national increase was 2.2%
versus Kingston, which is at
14.6. So we've seen these heavy markets that they had put the golden horseshoe, the tax. I mean, whether that's more of an emotional thing that causes those to level off, or is it actually caused by these taxes that they've put in? But it's leveled these markets off a bit. So we're seeing that what they did worked for the way they wanted it to work. Now our market, we're seeing a lack of inventory, so our market is still going up. It's still affordable, when you look at the CMHC numbers.
Yeah.
But that's what we're running into.
So great if you're selling.
Yeah.
A little intimidating if you're buying.
The only thing is great if you're selling, but you got to go somewhere.
That's true.
You got to look at it that way too. So it's if you're buying, you have to be prepared that there's probably going to be. Not saying on all the time, but I mean, we're going to deal with multiple offers. Mm-hmm. You have to be right in the office, sit down with your mortgage broker, see what they're saying in regards to how do we approach this. Do we get a walkthrough with an inspector? Can you ask the listing agent if you can walk through with an inspector and pay them prior to making the offer so that you're further ahead? I mean, you have to ask the listing brokerage, you have to ask the listing agent and the person that owns the house. But you want to try to figure out how can I make my offer the best, because it's emotionally tough, it's tiring,
for sure.
And it's hard on them. And I mean, we feel it too, because we're standing there saying, okay, we're trying to do the best we can. We want to educate you, but they have to feel comfortable in what they do. So.
And I've said it before that your real estate agent, your broker, sometimes a banker can be your best friends at this period in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I would be talking to get a real estate lawyer ready on hand, depending on the property. I mean, there's always different things. I'd have the real estate broker, the lawyer, and having a mortgage broker, bank, mortgage person, and be talking to them openly and having them communicate amongst themselves to make sure that everything's going to go smoothly and carry on the best it can.
Can you see, with all this construction going on right now and new subdivisions and the push for high rises, especially downtown, going to bring that number down, or is it going to be still people pricing themselves out of the market?
We have a bit of an issue in Kingston that CMHC released the numbers in the beginning of the year that we were 0.7% vacancy rate. These buildings are going to take 5 years to build if they get passed. So
that's the other dilemma.
We're way behind. And when you start looking at the stuff in the West End, we saw this group from Toronto that was released on CKWS that said that had come in and done this buying group. So a lot of that's been bought up between now and 2020. Our inventory is lacking, and it's, in my opinion, it's going to be like that for a couple of years.
Okay.
So we have to, if you're preparing, you have to, hire somebody, come in, have the house ready, and be ready to go.
We're not going to see a time we're going to be looking at what Toronto dealt with 10 years ago or Vancouver 15 years ago, though.
No, I don't think that we're going to see something like that. I mean, we see that this is a government-funded town, so we see that there is, the prisons, the military. We have this stability, but there's also a cap on where those numbers can go. I think, in my opinion, that you can only afford so much, and that's why we see that it's still kind of it's still a stable market. We've gone up this. Normally, we were going up 3 to 5% for many years. Last year, it jumped to 8. Right now, it's at 14. But we've always seen that kind of come back a little bit by the end of the year, and we say, okay, we had these certain months that did jump, but we're climbing. at an okay rate.
Okay. If you have any questions, as always, here's how to get a hold of Matt Lee.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.